Friends, it's Kara from iStampin.com. Thanks for joining me today. Today I am going to be showing you how to make this beautiful watercolor card using one of the brand new stamp sets from our annual catalog. And the stamp set is called Accented Blooms. And so I used this image right here and then used this image to place inside of the shape. So I just punched this out with our Taylor tag punch, and it's really simple. So let me show you the supplies that you are going to need to make this project. So like I said, you'll need accented blooms along with the coordinating punch. This is our Taylor tag punch. The ink I used is Memento Tuxedo Black ink. You will also need your watercolor pencils and aqua painter, and I'll go through the colors of what I used when we start coloring the image. For the cardstock, I am using Coastal Cabana. I am using another piece of Coastal Cabana to do the stamping of the hello. You'll need a piece of the Brights Designer Series paper. This is in our new 6x6 stack that you can find in the annual catalog, along with some watercolor paper. And then you will also need to use your Stamparatus. So I've got that all set up, so why don't we get started? Let me move these items and we'll start making this project. Well, let me tell you this. Okay, so you're going to want to start off with the piece of Coastal Cabana cardstock. This measures 8.5 by 5.5, and I've scored this at 4 1/4. So we'll go ahead and just fold our card base and get that out of the way. Then I'll go ahead and give you the measurements for the Designer Series paper. So like I said, this is coming from our Brights 6x6 stack, and this is just a 1/4 inch smaller. So this just measures 4 inches by 5 1/4, and we're going to be layering that on top of our card base, but we'll be doing that a little bit later. And then for your watercolor paper, you will want to cut this down to 3 1/4 by 4 3/4. So this is where we're going to start. And I've got my Stamparatus right here. So what I did is I just cut some used grid paper down to I think I cut it down to 7 3/4 by 7 3/4. And this just helps me with lining things up. I do have the new pad that Stampin' Storage is selling. You can find that on Stampin' Storage's site. It's just a magnetic pad that helps to get a better impression. So that's why I've put the grid paper on top of that. So let me get this stamp case. This is a great little tip, is to put the stamp case underneath the lid, and that keeps it almost like parallel. All right, so what I'm going to do here is go ahead and line up my cardstock with the grid lines, make sure it's straight, and I'm just going to put my magnet down here in the corner, and then I will place my stamp right here. The stamp is kind of off to the left. Okay, so I'm just going to pick this up. And guys, if you are in the market for a stamp positioner, I highly recommend the Stamparatus. I did have to get used to it. I did use another one in the past, so this one was a little bit different, but now that I've played around with it and used it, I love it. I love the size. I do use it upside down compared to most people because I am left-handed, and that's the great thing, is I love that as a left-handed person I can put it in the orientation that works better for me. Okay, and I'm going to stamp this again. I've a couple of the items, or a couple of the images, I didn't get a perfect, it didn't ink up perfectly, and that's one of the reasons why I love this tool, is because I can come right back and just press down a little bit harder where I didn't, and I should have a perfect image. Ah, wonderful. Okay, so next let's stamp our hello. So I just have a piece of Coastal Cabana cardstock. I've cut this down to like 3 3/4 by 2 inches, a little over 2 inches. And so again, I've just lined it up using my grid line, and I'm going to put the stamp right here in the middle. Now, because this is a solid image stamp, I do know that I'm going to have to stamp this a few times, which just to be able to get all of the black. And that was the reason why I definitely want to use the Stamparatus, is because I know that I have to stamp this a few times, and this is just the easiest way to do it. It's foolproof. So I'm just pressing down. So you can see here that I didn't get, you know, that all the black did not ink up the paper, which is not uncommon with a solid image stamp like this one. And I'll probably have to do it one more time. Let me do it one more time, and then that should be really good. And I stamped this on the Coastal Cabana because I wanted that hello to be in the color that matches the cardstock. I thought that was really pretty. Okay, perfect. That's about as good as it's going to get, which I am pleased with. So like I said, if you are in the market for a stamp positioner, I highly recommend this tool. I don't think you will be disappointed. It's very well made. Okay, now I'm just going to take my tailored tag punch. Now I could just cut this out by hand because I'm going to show you what I'm going to do next, but it's just, for me, it was just kind of easier to cut this down. And then what I'm going to do is go ahead and trim off the Coastal Cabana on the edges. I just want this to be black. And the only Coastal Cabana that you see is from the hello. So just cut this off. It's really easy. And I'm not even worrying about if a little bit of the Coastal Cabana shows on the edge, because I think that's kind of cool. All right, so that we will put on a little bit later, so we can put that off to the side. So now we are going to do our watercoloring, and like I said, you'll need an aqua painter, and the pencils that I've chosen today are Melon Mambo, Bermuda Bay, Rich Razzleberry, Old Olive, Calypso Coral, and Daffodil Delight. And because these the Coastal Cabana is part of the Brights collection, I am going to lay down quite a heavy amount of color on the flowers and leaves, because I just want to have, I want my watercolor to be a little bit brighter than what I have done in the past. Normally I've laid down a lighter amount of color, and it has a softer look to it. But because this is the Brights collection and Coastal Cabana is such a bold color, that I want to make the flowers as bold as possible. So I'm really pressing down hard, or harder, on the watercolor pencils than I normally do. Okay, so now I'm going to come in here and color this with Bermuda Bay. So what I've done is I've colored in the flowers in the center of all the flowers with the Daffodil Delight. And now I'm coming in with these smaller flowers with Bermuda Bay. I used Old Olive on the leaves and the stem. And here we go with Melon Mambo. And then this is going to be in Rich Razzleberry. And then the last one's going to be Calypso Coral. And this is a large flower, so you kind of want to go out far with the color. But this is such an easy technique. I love watercoloring. All right, so what I like to do is to have a piece or have a paper towel handy. If you haven't ever watercolored using an aqua painter, all you do is unscrew the top, you fill the barrel with tap water, and then you just screw it back on. And then you'll take off the lid, and you'll see that my brush end is a little bit stained. That's okay. Just squeeze the barrel until a couple of drops of water come out from the tip, and then just kind of brush that off. You just want the brush to be a little bit damp. You don't want it to be wet. If it's wet, just wipe off the excess on your paper towel, and then you should be good to go. So as you can see, I'm just using small circular motions just to spread out the color. And I love these pencils. They're pretty much foolproof. You really can't screw this up a whole lot, which is ideal for me because I am not an artist at all. I'm just going to come in here and just do the center flowers. And after you do a color, make sure you wipe it off so that you don't contaminate the next color. Okay, so now I'm going to come in and go ahead and do the leaves. When it's all done. Isn't that pretty? Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is just place the hello inside this shape, and I'm just going to use some dimensionals for this. So I'm just going to put like 3 on there. And so you just want to make sure you're placing that where the points match and the sides. There we go. That looks good. And so now we can bring in our card base. So I'm just going to use a little bit of snail to attach the designer series paper to the card. So this is just a 1/4 inch smaller, like I said, so it should be easy to line up. And then I'm going to put this on dimensionals as well. I'm going to go ahead and put 3 on the bottom, 1 in the middle, and 3 on the top. I want to make sure this is well supported. Okay, and that's just going to go right there in the center. So the designer series paper looks like it's framing our flowers. And then the last step is to just get some of your Bermuda Bay. I don't know if I showed this to you in the supplies. This is the mini striped ribbon, a 1/4 inch wide. This is in Bermuda Bay, but it works perfectly with Coastal Cabana. I don't think you would ever know the difference if I hadn't told you what color it was. And so I am just going to tie a bow. And I kind of want it to be a little bit bigger. I want it to kind of look like the ribbon is has been wrapped around the watercolor panel, but I couldn't do that because then I would be covering up part of the flowers, and I just didn't think that would look right. So I'm going to attach this with a glue dot, and I like to use my paper piercer to pick up the glue dot, and I'm just going to put it right there. And then just take the center of the bow and just kind of mush it in there. And then now I can take my ribbon scissors and trim off the tails. And there we have it. Just a really pretty, this is actually a really simple card. I mean, it does take some time to do the coloring, but it's not difficult. but I just think it's just a striking card. I love the Coastal Cabana color. It's just so pretty, and I hope you like it. Let me show you the stamp set once again. So this was Accented Blooms. This is one of our new stamp sets that's in our annual catalog. And don't forget to use the June host code when you shop in my online store. You'll receive a free gift from me the following month. If your order is $150 or more, do not use the code. You will still get a gift from me. All right, guys, well, if you liked today's video, give it a thumbs up. Make sure you head on over to istampin.com to sign up for my newsletter. And if you have any questions or comments about today's project, just comment below. Thanks, guys. Have a great day. Bye.